All right, let's talk about one of the most important skills for any Python developer who's ready to level up. We're talking about virtual environments. Seriously, this is the secret sauce to building code that just works. Not just for you, but for everyone every single time.
You know the feeling, right? You've spent hours, maybe days, getting your code to run perfectly. You send it to a friend or a coworker, and crickets. It just completely blows up on their machine. It has to be one of the most classic, frustrating headaches in all of programming.
So where does this problem even come from? Well, it has a name, and it's a place you really don't want to live in. Dependency hell. And it all starts because when we first learn Python, we usually have just one single global installation trying to juggle every single project we work on.
Okay, let's look at a super common scenario. Imagine you have Project A, a shiny new web app that needs the latest and greatest, Django 4.0. But you also have to maintain Project B, an old legacy system that's stuck on the ancient Django 1.9. Well, guess what? Your main system can only have one version of Django installed at a time. You're completely stuck. You literally have to choose which project to break. It's a no-win situation.
And this is where the real chaos kicks in. You innocently update a library for your new project, and bam! An old project you haven't touched in 6 months suddenly stops working. Your projects start stepping on each other's toes, and collaboration becomes this impossible game of, what version are you using again? It's a total mess.
But here's the good news. There is an incredibly simple, super elegant solution to all this madness. The idea is, instead of having one big, messy, global environment, you create a completely separate, isolated virtual environment for every single project. So what exactly is a virtual environment? Well, the definition here uses the most important words you need to remember: isolated. Think of it like this. What happens in one project's environment stays in that environment. It can't break your main computer, and it definitely can't break your other projects.
I absolutely love this analogy because it's just so perfect. Your global Python setup is like one giant, cluttered workbench with tools for every job all jumbled together. A virtual environment, though, that's like giving each project its own clean, pristine, perfectly organized workshop. All the right tools are there, and nothing from the outside can get in and mess things up. And this isn't some kind of abstract computer science magic. A virtual environment is literally just a folder on your computer. That's it. And inside that folder, you've got a copy of the Python interpreter, its own private little folder for all its libraries, a couple of scripts to turn the environment on and off, and a small config file. Simple, but so powerful.
Okay, that's enough theory. Let's actually get our hands dirty. We're going to walk through the workflow using Vend, which is the tool that's built right into Python itself, ever since version 3.3. It's the modern, official, and definitely the recommended way to handle your environments. Honestly, it all comes down to these 4 simple commands. First, in your project directory, you create the environment. Second, you activate it. And yeah, the command is just a tiny bit different for Mac and Windows. Third, once it's active, you install whatever you need with pip. And finally, when you're done working, you just deactivate. That's the whole cycle.
So, how do you know you're actually inside that clean workshop? Well, your terminal gives you a really obvious clue. The name of your environment, usually in parentheses, will pop up right at the start of your command prompt. As soon as you see that, you know that any pip install commands are happening safely inside that little bubble and not messing with your main computer.
Now, getting that workflow down is fantastic for your own work, but the real power, the real professional magic, happens when you need to share your code with somebody else and guarantee, it's going to work for them too.
I mean, this is the million-dollar question, right? How can you just hand someone the exact blueprint, the perfect recipe, to build an identical copy of your project's workshop on their machine? Well, the answer is way simpler than you might think. The secret is this one little command: pip freeze >requirements.txt. When your environment is active, pip freeze just spits out a list of every single package you've installed, right down to the exact version number. That little arrow then saves that list to a plain text file, which we always call requirements.txt.
And this is what that file looks like. See? It's not scary at all. It's just a simple shopping list of package names and version numbers. This little text file is the golden ticket. It's the perfect recipe for your project.
And this is what closes the loop. Your collaborator gets your code, they get that requirements.txt file, they create their own fresh virtual environment, and then they run this one single command. Pip just reads the file and installs the exact same packages with the exact same versions. And just like that, you've achieved perfect reproducibility.
So let's just take a step back and hammer home why we go through these few simple steps. Why is this whole workflow so fundamental to writing good Python code today?
Well, it boils down to this. Isolation, which stops your projects from fighting with each other. Consistency, which makes sure your code runs the same for you, for your team, and on the production server. Reproducibility, which makes sharing your work dead simple. And finally, control. You are in complete command of your project's world.
And let's be totally clear here. This is not some optional, nice-to-have skill. Using virtual environments is the foundational, #1, absolute best practice for anyone who is serious about developing with Python. Period.
You see, by mastering this one simple concept, you've just wiped out one of the biggest sources of frustration in software development. You're now equipped to build professional, reliable, and collaborative code. So the only real question left is, now that you have this power, what are you going to build?